when you make God your CEO, it's a battle. So the thing that we go through as individuals all the time is you're going in this battle or this war between ownership and stewardship all the time. Ownership, stewardship, ownership, stewardship, ownership, stewardship.
Mm.
And when you relinquish everything and you say, I am a steward, I'm not an owner, there are certain things that get stripped off of your shoulders. Yes, people can see that you're tired. Yes, people can see that you're burning the midnight oil. You are really pushing and you're carrying a load. But at the end of it all, or behind the scenes, you're just becoming a steward.
Mm.
You're just a steward because you know what you have. You know that this is not yours. And I think in that year, that's when I had to realize that, hey, this company is not mine. It's not mine. I'm a steward. I'm a steward and I need to steward really, really well. It's like when you're given something to look after, ne? And the value that the person is giving you that thing, you take up that same value. You take up that same value. You're not going to look after that thing with a lower value to that thing. Because this person values this thing so much, you're going to take up the same value. And so one of my mentors tells the story and says, there's this man who was told to build a house. They were told, okay, go build a house. And he was a builder. He went to go build this house. And he was meant to build this house for a king. He built. But what this man did, he cut corners. He didn't use genuine material. And the king or this royal person was not around to actually check. So that's how he got away with that. So then came the day of the reveal of the house. It's a beautiful, large house, elaborative, and you just feel like, oh yes, this is definitely built for a king. And this person was proud to say, I've, finished the project, and I'm now handing over the project. Then the king came, and he then presented. It was a big reveal of this house, and there were a lot of community members, and it was a big deal. Then when the time came to actually open up the house and all of that, then the king was like, you've actually built this house for yourself, handed over the keys
Crazy.
to this person, to the builder.
Mm.
Yo.
You cheated yourself.
You cheated yourself, you see. So God is my CEO. I can't cheat myself. I can't cheat myself. Yes, you're saying, okay, I'm just a steward, I'm not an owner. But God can't physically come here and live in the business and the rewards that the business has for you. The fact that you can move from one residential area to another residential area. If you don't steward well, all of those things don't come to you the way they should come to you. So you need to always remember that when it all ends, you're going to leave all of these things. And you want to have a legacy mindset. You want to have a succession plan of sorts, because it's not yours. When you look at dominion on earth, he says, I have given you dominion, right? You subdue the earth, rule here, and all of that. You then realize that as a steward and the value that he has over creation, you can't do things in a mediocre manner. You cannot. Because, oh, it's a good one. Because now we are competing with so many people, especially now in the age that we are in. There's excellence being celebrated. And if as a child of God, you're not displaying that excellence, unfortunately, you're always going to be playing catch up in this world.
So true.
You're always going to be playing catch up. You're always going to be finding yourself being left behind. Even now in the technology space, it's crazy. Use AI to your benefit. Use it. You use it because you really need it to accelerate what you need to do. But always remember that you need to do things in a proper manner. Yes, at the beginning, it's not so easy. And also when you carry that mindset, you realize that, okay, yes, when things are tough, hey, this is not my business, it's yours. God, make the resources available for this. Also looking, I think I saw a video online a while back where this husband was just talking about how um, between him and Christ, so Christ has a bride, and the bride is the church, right? And so as he has this bride, which is the church, him as a husband, the bride that he has is actually forming part of what Christ has, the church, right? So if I need to cater to my wife and I need to look after my wife and all of that, God, if I'm not given the resource, because at the end of the day, I'm just here as a steward as well, quote unquote, or somebody that needs to look after this woman, and provide for her, protect her, da da da, like Christ did for the church. I need to love her like Christ did for the church. Then you realize that if God does not capacitate me to do that, then I'm unable to do it. So you always go back to the one that is the owner, the true owner. So when things are not materializing the way they should, you then relax because you're like, okay, maybe God doesn't want me to go that route. Maybe I need to learn certain things in this time, in this place, in this. Sometimes we have our own things that we want to do, but if you realize that, God is the CEO, and what does the CEO do? They cast the vision. So as the CEO here, you've got it on your business card. Go back to God and say, what is the vision for this company? What is the vision for this company? Who should I hire in this company? How should we do things? How do we distribute our funds? Because CEO number one wants you to look after communities with this profits that you're having. And that becomes how you sustain yourself in the business. Others won't know about it, but how do you still stay relevant 10 years after? God is the one that enables you to do that. So if you can make sure that CEO number one is happy with how you're doing things, then sustainability for you is inevitable, you see, because you are ensuring that his first mandate is catered for. He wants all men to come into the knowledge of Christ. And when your business is used as a platform, if your business is used as a platform, it really just enables many people to come into that. And when we say your business is used as a platform, it can happen in different ways. Your excellence, how you serve your clients. Then people are saying, no, there's something different about this company. You don't have to be, have it written on your forehead. No. Doesn't have to be like that. And some people do it that way, and then it becomes like people are like, I don't want to associate myself with this company. But if you do it with wisdom, I'd recommend people to actually study Isaiah 11:2. All of those spirits, ask the Lord to help you. Spirit of wisdom, Spirit of God, knowledge, counsel, might. It takes might to do the work that we do.
That's Isaiah
11:2. It takes might to do the work that we do. It takes wisdom. How do you know where the industry is going in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, if it's going to collapse or not? Should you have an office or not? God is the one who's going to tell you all of those things. What type of clients should you have? All of those various things. The CEO casts the vision, and the CEO will give you direction. Okay, go this way. Have a geographical location of this geographical location. Have this innovation. Like for us now, we are in the tech space. Can you imagine gardens to tech? How does that happen? But God is launching us into that space because there's things coming for us that we need to align ourselves and be ready for. Yeah, it's an exciting time.